These are my top 10 drone shoots that I've ever gotten. With number 10, shot with a Mavic Air 2, this is Montserrat, Bogota, Colombia. Now this church sits high on the mountain overlooking the capital city of Bogota, and it's a really breathtaking view. The air is thin up there, so as you're hiking up all the stairs, you really feel it, especially if you're from sea level. And it's tough to fly the drone up here because the winds sometimes are tough, and the security ran us off pretty quickly. So this is why this is one of my favorite spots, Montserrat. Number 9, shot with the old Mavic Air, and this is one of the most beautiful places you can ever find, Koh Nang Yuen in Thailand. This small little island, it's actually a couple of islands that are connected with this little bridge of sand you see. Beautiful waters, you can snorkel, you can scuba dive, you can just enjoy the beach, and you can get there by a short boat ride from the Koh Tao Island in Thailand. This is one of my favorite places that I've ever been, and if you go to Thailand, if you go to the Gulf of Thailand Islands, go there. Number 8, shot with a $400 Fimi X8. This is Singapore. This is specifically the Marina Bay Sands Hotel in Singapore. You may have seen this as a backdrop in Crazy Rich Asians, but this hotel is like none other. You can't even get up to the top level where the infinity pool you see is located without being a guest at the hotel. They're pretty strict about that. They're also pretty strict about flying the drone around the city of Singapore, which made this also kind of a challenge. It's an iconic and amazing looking piece of property and one of the craziest looking man-made features you'll ever see. Number 7 takes us to Indonesia. This is called Broken Beach. If you go to Bali, Indonesia, make the short trip across to Nusa Penida, another island where some of the most amazing scenery you'll ever find. Flew my first land bridge underflight here. Right about here, I really thought I was losing this drone. There's not really a beach at Broken Beach. It's really more of a place to come and see amazing sights. On my second pass under the land bridge, I did much better. Brings us to number 6. For number 6, this is one of those that you really earn it. Lagoinhas de Leste Beach in Brazil is on the island of Florianopolis, and you'll see later right here where the mountains surround this beach and there's no road access, there's no buildings, there's no way to get there unless you hike through the mountains for a couple of hours to this beach. So you've really earned your trip and it pays off big time. You get down here and you have this entire place almost completely to yourself. This is some of the softest and most baby powder-like sand you'll ever find. The sea was beautiful here. Let's go to number 5, shot with a Mavic Air 2, and this is Tequendama Falls, back to Bogota, Colombia. Now this is a place with a storied history and some of it's kind of a dark history. This giant falls drops several hundred feet, and several people have taken their own life, unfortunately, at Tequendama Falls. You're also not allowed to fly drones around this area, so I had to stand on one of these dangerous side roads just to have access to the location to fly the drone, so it really made it that much more worth it when I got back and saw this video. Now, this river is so polluted you wouldn't want to swim in it because it actually flows through the city of Bogota, but the sight it creates and the natural wonder of this canyon it falls into are something else. Number 4, and we're going to go to South America again, this time Rio de Janeiro. This is Sugarloaf Mountain, and in Portuguese I always butcher this, but it's Pau de Açúcar. And the Sugarloaf Mountain area is incredible because you can go up to the top of that peak on a cable car. Now this is airspace that borders up against the airport's airspace, so this is as close as I could get before the software in the drone wouldn't let me fly any further. Sugarloaf Mountain is definitely a place you want to see in person. Number 3, back to the Fimi X8 and one of the most peaceful and tranquil places you will ever see. Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. Ha Long Bay is located up to the northeast of Hanoi. And if you make the trip to Hanoi, take a day tour or an overnight trip to stay on one of these cruise boats out on Ha Long Bay. This incredible area has got the calmest and beautiful blue-green waters. And there's also this piece about this area that's just hard to believe. Staying on these little cruise ships overnight, they treat you like royalty. You eat amazing food. The drinks are wonderful. The sunsets are incredible. Highly recommend Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. This brings us to number 2, El Peñol, Guatapé, Colombia. So if you go to Medellin, Colombia, that's probably the closest access you'll get. You can take about a 1.5 hour ride on a bus or an Uber or a taxi, and you can go to Guatapé. Guatapé is a beautiful natural phenomenon that you have to see. There's a staircase all the way to the top of this massive rock. And this is at over 7,000 feet above sea level, so you're going to really be winded if you're coming from sea level like I was. It's over 700 steps to the top of Guatapé's El Peñol, but it's worth it with the amazing 360-degree panoramic view you're going to have of the whole valley area and the entire Guatapé reservoir. The beautiful lakes that surround the El Peñol are absolutely breathtaking. The number 1 place I've ever flown my drone, and probably the most beautiful thing I've seen in my entire life in person, Kelingking, Nusa Penida, right off the coast of Bali, Indonesia. You've seen these Instagram photos probably of people standing at the top of this, and you can take pictures and things all day from the top, but it will never do it justice like making the hike down from the top of Kelingking to the beach below. It's one of the most peaceful and beautiful places you'll ever get to if you make the long, fairly treacherous hike down to Kelingking Beach, but it's totally worth it. You're rewarded with the most perfect sand, natural, clean, the water is clear, blue-green, and the wind is rushing in from the Indian Ocean. It's an incredible place, and I highly recommend going there if you make it to Bali. This was also not apparent from this video, but the winds are gusting 30 plus miles per hour on this day. So it was quite a challenge just to fly the drone and recover it. A couple of times I really thought it was getting away from me. The deceiving thing about flying these camera drones is you get back and you realize that your footage is really stable despite the rough wind conditions. Kelingking Beach is an incredible place that you've got to see with your own eyes. If you come to Nusa Penida, you've got to go to Kelingking Beach. Well, folks, that wraps up my 10 favorite places that I've flown my drone. And then here's one little bonus for you. This one's shot with a $350 Hubsan Zeno Pro. It's called Big Buddha, and this one's on the Koh Samui Island, Thailand. If you go out to this little island, it's a beautiful stop. Now, this is a real-life temple, so you can't get any closer with your drone. You can walk up and tour the temple on foot, but out of respect, obviously, for the temple goers, I was not going to get my drone right over the top of any people or anything like that. It's just coated in gold, and the video or images you see again will never do it justice compared to seeing it in person, but it still makes for an incredible piece of scenery, and what a backdrop. So there you go, folks. That's actually 11 places. There were a lot more places that didn't make the cut.